WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and WNST.net. We have had a wild week of conversation here. I've spanned the globe to bring you the constant variety of Muhammad Ali chatter. We certainly did a lot of that, as well as some Stanley Cup and NBA. But the big story this week happened Tuesday night at Camden Yards. A brawl, Manny Machado and Yordano Ventura. We're going around baseball and getting some thoughts, and I thought we would start where the team is the hottest. Jeff Wilson covers all things Rangers at the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, and the Rangers have been as good a story this week as any in baseball, surging ahead now. I think there's, other than the Cubs, they're the talk of baseball, and Jeff's been on the scene for all things Rangers. What a nice little summer ride you're on here, watching some good baseball for a change, right, Jeff?
Yeah, they were kind of inconsistent there for a little while, but lately they're doing a lot of good things, and then starting pitching's been good. The bullpen seems to have been strained out a little bit, and then the offense is finding a way, and hey, they're just beating teams.
Yeah, I went to all the ballparks last summer. I did 30 ballparks in 30 days, and I was in Arlington in late June. The team stunk. The A's were beating them 9-0 at one point, and I'm sitting up in the press box with some friends I know down in the Dallas area, and I'm like, wow, it was hot. No one had any thought that there would be a playoff run at all. I would think if there's a book on a championship that the Rangers could win this year, it probably starts on the deal last year at the deadline, right? I mean, that's kind of where everything turned to get them to the point where they smell a lot more like the Royals than the Royals do right now.
Well, it's not just the Hamels deal. There was also within the Hamels deal, there was Jake Beekman, and then right minutes before the deadline, they acquired Sam Dyson from the Marlins, and those two guys, what Hamels did for the rotation is pretty apparent. Is the Rangers won his last 10 starts, and game 162, he tosses a complete game and they win it. But those two guys in the bullpen, Diekman and Dyson, really turned around a weakness. And now, when you look at the team again, Dyson has replaced Sean Talton as closer. Diekman's still throwing hard and getting guys out. So that trade, the acquisition of the two relievers shouldn't be overlooked by the acquisition of Hamels.
Well, and having guys at the top of the rotation that, I don't know how to slice and dice them. Clearly, Hamels is making all the money, but they've gotten good pitching. And, that's been the story here in Baltimore as well. We're going to hit the ball, but who's going to pitch? And I think the Orioles will struggle with that all year. I think the Red Sox will struggle with that on the back of the rotation. Most teams will. But you got three guys going out there every turn through and really giving you an honest chance to win, and you can hit the ball a little bit. It looks like it's going to be a good summer. It looks very consistent down there.
Yeah, Yu Darvish has returned. He is his first two starts were both wins. He's still on a pitch count, and they're watching him closely because they want him for September and October to be at full strength, which makes perfect sense. But Hamels Darvish 1-2 punch is pretty salty. It's one of maybe the Mets have it better. The Nationals certainly have an argument having two starters who are better at the top of their rotation, or at least equal. And but in the American League, it's tough to find, and I think that gives the Rangers an advantage in any short series. And anytime they're riding a losing streak, you would think that one of those two guys would end it. So that's a strength. And then you look at what Derek Holland's done. His numbers are tainted by a terrible outing at Toronto, but he's been very good. Martin Perez has been pretty good, and Colby Lewis, who's supposed to be the number 5 starter, has probably been the most pleasant surprise in the rotation.
Jeff Wilson covers all things Texas Rangers deep in the heart of Texas, and the Rangers are surging at this point. And, you look at the stats, and I look at the Orioles and think of the Orioles, the team that doesn't walk a whole lot, but because of guys like Jones and Scope and these guys swinging from their heels, I look at the Rangers, no one walks there, right?
They like to swing the bat. That's for sure. They'll take their walks when they're out there. There are some guys that teams are really need to start pitching around and thinking about that. Not necessarily the Bryce Harper treatment, but there are situations like Nomar Mazara. Teams for some reason continue to pitch to him. I know he's a rookie, but there are certain situations where you just got to stick out the four fingers or do one of those intentional or unintentional intentional walks. Beltray, he's not going to walk a lot. He's going to swing, but he's going to be productive. So you take the good with the bad. It's kind of like the Royals last year didn't have a huge on base or had a nice on base percentage without a lot of walks because those guys they just got hit after hit after hit. So it's in the Rangers. They work a lot of deep counts. I think they work a lot of counts into their favor and then take advantage of it. But like Rougned Odor's not going to walk. And like I said, Beltray isn't going to walk. Mitch Moreland's not going to walk. Ian Desmond will walk on occasion, but he's another guy that likes to swing.
What's hard when you have a lineup like that because it really doesn't force pitchers to work harder. I mean, that's the thing I see here is like I don't know why anybody would ever throw Adam Jones a strike, but when you have a whole lineup that's that way, it makes pitchers adjust a little bit too, right?
Well, there's not a break in the lineup. I mean, if you have guys that if you can stretch out your lineup, a starter's not going to get a chance to take a breath in the ninth spot. And
sure.
He can maybe take a breath. These Rangers, when they're all going well, which they're not currently doing, but their 8 and 9 hitters this year have been among the most productive in the league. So that puts a lot of pressure on a pitcher right there, knowing that they don't have a guy who's an automatic out.
Obviously, in Moreland and Fielder, you got a couple of guys underperforming. Thoughts there as far as it getting better?
Well, they're trying to get creative with Fielder. They gave him a couple days off just to sit back and watch games and not have to worry about anything. They play him at first base, which they think sometimes gets him more involved, gets his mind working a little bit. And then in his first game back, he got a couple hits and then an RBI. So, they're trusting the track record with Fielder. This is the first time really in his career that he's ever struggled to this extent, and it's been bad. I mean, they're right before they sat him over last weekend, I think. He was 0 for 12, and his last 7 at bats had been terrible. I mean, he wasn't even close. So he needed it. He didn't like it, but that's kind of what they did with Ian Desmond earlier in the year. He was at one point hitting under 100, and so they gave him a couple days off. There was a rain out with the Orioles that had to be made up that fell in line. So he got 3 days off, and he came back and he hasn't stopped hitting. So I think that's the hope there with Fielder. Moreland actually plays pretty good defense at first base, so it's hard to take that out of the lineup for the Rangers. But at some point they're going to have to if he continues to struggle like this.
Jeff, I know you've been writing about base brawl and the unwritten rules that you write about down at the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Some thoughts about the Machado brawl, and there are players now getting branded as being part of this, and they're largely Latin, dare I say, with the last name of Aparicio.
The Ventura thing was terrible. There was history there. Sounded like he had a vendetta. I read a story on Yahoo Sports where the Royals are tired of his act. Talented guy who's just completely underproducing, and he wants. This is what he wants. He wants to be a troublemaker. He apparently has said in the clubhouse to players that next time they play the Blue Jays, he's going to hit Jose Bautista, and it's part of the game. But the old school people and the old school part of me. I'm only 41, but still I respect the tradition of the game and players policing themselves. But I think kind of getting away from that a little bit. This is 2016. This isn't 1956 or 1996. It's just a different time. More international players, more cultures to consider, and bat flips. Well, they are ugly in my opinion, but they're not in every country. And so baseball's kind of at a tough spot here, but
hitting guys.
There are players who are just jerks, and Ventura, it sounds like by all accounts is, and there was definite intent behind it, and it's not like he throws 79. That was a 99 mile per hour heater in the ribs, and that can be a danger as well.
We are chatting with Jeff Wilson. He covers all things Texas Rangers and the great game of baseball at the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. You can follow him out on Twitter at JeffWilson_FW. That's Fort Worth ST Star-Telegram. And a wonderful photo of you fishing. So
yes.
I see what you're doing in your part-time there. For the baseball season to go the way, and seeing the Royals sort of stumbling through here, seeing the Yankees just really kind of stink, seeing Minnesota and Houston teams, and even Tampa, teams with this young, great promise that clearly aren't getting there this year. It has been good to see Seattle step up. I think the race in the Central is going to be fantastic with all those teams. And you got your hands full with the Seattle Mariners out west, right?
Yeah, that's a pretty good team, and they're dealing with injury to their heart and soul. I hesitate to say that about a starting pitcher in the heart and soul of the team, but Felix Hernandez is pretty darn good, and he's going to be out a little bit longer than they're expecting, I think, with that calf injury. And they're kind of not a crisis mode, but you got to learn how to win without your best players. And this is a team that hasn't won. Now they have players who have won, Cano, Cruz, but really it doesn't go much beyond that. So they're being tested right now. They're in a difficult stretch where they got to win without the man every fifth day. So that'll be interesting to see. But they're still, they have veterans, but they're still young. They count on Taijuan Walker. They've called up James Paxton to replace Hernandez. Their shortstops are rookies. So young guys, and definitely guys that haven't been to the postseason and been in a hunt. I know a couple of years ago they were in the wild card mix and fell short, but I never really took them seriously there.
Well, I hope you have a great summer covering baseball. It's always fun to talk with you. I know we'll see you further on up down the road, and we'll see probably Manny Machado at the All-Star game. It must be interesting from afar to see that guy get hit, right? I mean, one of the best players in the game. I've had a few people this month just unsolicited say, I think he's the best player in the game. That's kind of a bold statement. You got the Trouts and the Harpers and the other guys that have come on. It is a great time for young players, but I guess from our perspective, watching from afar, that would be part of the fun of this. That you don't have to be just watch the highlight reel of what Chris Bryant's doing or on any night what Correa's doing and some of the young pitchers. It's really kind of a neat time to be around baseball.
Yeah, you're right about that. There is so much young talent, and I don't know if it's because the Yankees dominated the scene forever with the same cast that they kept re-signing guys who were young that they developed and then just grew old and stuck with them. It's not an old man's league right now. I mean, you're right. I mean, we get to see Correa 19 times a year as Rangers writers. We get to see that. And the Rangers have some good young players, Odor, Mazzara, Joey Gallo eventually. But, yeah, when we go from city to city or the other teams come here, we like to watch Machado play. We like to watch Trout. We get to see him 19 times a year. So it's a good time. It's a good time to be covering baseball, but it's a good time to be a baseball fan because there's so much young blood getting pumped in.
Now, they're ripping the stadium up down there already, right? I remember I was there the first week it opened when the guy fell out of the upper deck out in right field. The Orioles played the second ever series in Arlington.
Yeah, the plan it has to be vote in November, but half public finance, half private from the ownership for a retractable roof, which basically, you've been here in the summer. It's miserable. You got to have a roof.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy.
Yeah, in the fall and the spring, it's going to rain. So that the ballpark wasn't built with a roof is probably an oversight initially. A lot of people are upset because it's only 22 years old. Infrastructure's changed. Technology has changed. It's a difficult ballpark to I don't want to say run, but to maintain and to do the things that fans expect now. So, and then when it opens in 2021, the new one, it'll be a 27-year-old ballpark. So,
well, you know what? There's nothing cozy about it. I did 30 ballparks in 30 days last summer, so I was in every stadium. It is markedly bigger, right? I mean, it's just when you sit in all these stadiums, maybe you get comfortable down there. It just was built big like Texas and far away, and that white latticing way out there and that deck. It's big. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it's a big ballpark. You're right. I mean, they've cut down the seating capacity over the years with little changes to the bullpen, for instance, and stuff like that. But it's still a 48,000 sellout. So I mean that's a big ballpark by today's standards, and the new one will be probably in the low 40s capacity. But I mean it is and it's enclosed all the way around too, and so it feels like you're in a stadium and not like your ballpark there at Camden Yards. Where it's open in the outfield, you can see into the warehouse and a little bit into downtown. But this place, once you get in, you're shut out. You can't see anything out there. So you do feel like you're in a like a football stadium.
And you got to pass the blimp just to get to it, right?
That's right. You gotta go right past Old Jerry World there and hop. Right across the street, probably driver 7-iron.
Yeah, what was the Who song? I can see for miles and miles. I mean, you can see that thing for miles and miles. I mean, it's not hard to find, the ballpark at Arlington. Just go to the blimp and look around. You'll find it. So,
that's exactly right.
Hey, Jeff, really appreciate your time, as always. You're a great guest to have on. We'll be following your journey out at the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, as well as at Jeff Wilson _FWST. And hook 'em. That's all I can say while you're down there. Get some fish when you're out on the pond.
All right, man, I appreciate it.
You got it. Jeff Wilson down in the heart of Texas, covering the Texas Rangers. You can check him out on the web. You can check us out in the Bahia Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device at WNST.net. It is free. It is easy. It takes about 30 seconds. The morning newspaper is very easy. That's a one-clicker. It comes to you at 7 o'clock every morning with all the highlights, all the stuff we do here, and our audio as well. It's all brought to you by Planet Fitness and PlanetFitness.com. And last but never, ever least, breaking news. Ask Around, now a decade old, the WNST Tech Service, brought to you by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard, bringing you the breaking news. Sign up first, get it first. And, of course, on Thursdays, listen to Dennis as he drives you home from 3 until 5. That is the Sunday Sports Voice, the SSV, on WNST. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Taos in Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.